Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones. And in this segment, I'm going to talk about the coronavirus and how it's allowed elitists to implement destructive policies. So the title of today's video is The Coronavirus Has Allowed Elitists to Employ Destructive Policies. The coronavirus has given elitist opportunities to employ destructive policies. Once again, the coronavirus has given elitists opportunities to employ destructive policies. Now, when I talk about the coronavirus, my belief is there is something out there. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it has come from. Now, one point of evil that the elitists are trying to utilize, but too many of you do not know, is depopulation. Yesterday, I saw a clip from Governor Cuomo, who is the governor of New York. And he was talking about the elderly. And he said the elderly are going to die anyway. Now, when I heard that, that was code speak for getting rid of elderly people. That was very evil. And it was evil because the real policy that he wants to impose is when you get rid of elderly people, you lower the amount of benefits they get. Because elderly people go to the doctor more than younger people. But if you're going to insert that tactic, what about killing off some of these individuals who are on welfare? They suck up a lot of resources as well. If you look in the African American community, and this is something destructive that's out there as well, Planned Parenthood. Who funds Planned Parenthood? Planned Parenthood is funded by taxpayers. Now, Margaret Sanger wanted African American people to die. Now, she didn't walk up into an African American community and said, I want African American people to die. What she did, she got some slick talking pastor who's smooth with words. He did the talking for her. But the slick talking pastor minced his words very well to his congregation to make the congregation seem like what he was talking about was Christ-like. But of course, many in the African American community are clueless when it comes to most types of subjects except talking about one another. But when you deal with what's going on with this coronavirus, you have to add to the mix people like Bill Gates. He really wants a vaccine to be inserted in people so they can be tracked. He, in his mind, believes that the world is overpopulated. You have people like Jeffrey Bezos, who's about to become, in the next few years, the world's first trillionaire. And you've got George Soros. George Soros is constantly trying to utilize his resources to implement a socialist society. Now, when you deal with the coronavirus is basically being used as a farce. And that's FARCE, farce, look it up, to try to implement a one world government. And the only person standing in the way of a one world government is our 45th president, Donald Trump. You see, a lot of these countries out here are dictatorships. They're third world countries. They are communist, totalitarian. Now, here in the United States, since the 1960s, we've been moving further and further left toward socialism. And being here in the United States, the Democratic Party, they passed H.R. 6666. Now, you know when we mean 666, we're talking about the devil. In fact, the Democratic politicians are evil. They don't believe in families. They don't believe in God. They believe in a welfare state. And what they propose is they want this Green Deal. You hear Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talk about that every day. The Green Deal is going to have us pay more for energy. But if you decode what the Green Deal is, it's more radical environmentalism to stop development. And when you don't have growth, particularly when it comes to building more businesses and more homes, the government cuts its own throat by not having more taxpayers to put into the revenue for the programs. Now, here's something else that you must understand as well. You have policies in the H.R. 6666 bill that basically incentivize individuals who are on unemployment to stay home. Because when you're getting unemployment benefits right now, more monies are going to be given to individuals who are on unemployment. That's going to give them more money to stay home rather than go to work. You have big corporations like Walmart. These individuals, to me, they want to be the big fish. And the reason why the Walmarts and other big corporations don't want to deal with small businesses, it's because they can control the market with price gouging. Now, I don't know where you all live. I live in the state of Indiana, and I see that oil is going up. Gas went down when oil was in the negatives to around $1.19 per gallon for regular gasoline. Now it's going back up. The lowest I've seen gas for here in the state of Indiana, it's been $1.79, but that just went up to $1.99. Now, you must understand that these elitists are putting all the propaganda out here through this coronavirus to try to keep you in history. Correction. It's going to give you a history of mystery. And the reason why I say mystery, because many of us don't know what the coronavirus is. And what these elitists are telling you when it comes to the coronavirus is when somebody passes away, they're not doing any autopsies, and they're saying that this person passed away from the coronavirus. And in some areas, you have people who aren't wearing masks. I don't wear a mask myself. Again, a mask does not help you. And at the end of the day, what these elitists are doing is putting in policies to track your whereabouts so they can control you. And these elitists have a lot of money. These elitists out here, like Bernie Sanders, socialist senator from the state of Vermont. He has 3 houses himself. He's big on talking about giving individuals $2,000 a month until 2021. Well, you know that's not going to fly, because when you start giving people money, because socialism is being tested during this coronavirus, and when you have people who aren't informed, they're going to believe all this nonsense and they're going to go along with it. And what the elitists are doing, particularly with the stimulus, they want individuals to see in the individual's mind that the government cares about them. The government does not care about you. The government wants to control you, and they're utilizing points of control through putting drones in the air, to use infrared to see if you have symptoms of the coronavirus. Some companies are testing robots that can track you down if you are in an area using infrared sourcing to see if you got the coronavirus as well. Now, with this coronavirus, there are some people who are defying the order. There was a salon owner in Texas who was arrested because she defied the order. She had a small business. She got out in 2 days. There are some people who are waking up. Like I said, I live here in the state of Indiana. There was a protest a couple days ago from some small businesses. Now, the individuals down in Indianapolis, Governor Holcomb is not going to override Joe Hogsett. He's a Democrat in Marion County, and Marion County covers all of Indianapolis. You're going to have to march on to the mayor's house. And you individuals in Michigan, in California, the individuals must wake up, because they don't want you to have any arms. In fact, as African Americans, there's not one black African American politician who believes in Second Amendment rights. Many of them believe in the Martin Luther King theory that you don't need violence. Well, I believe in the Malcolm X theory. Sometimes you have to utilize it to defend yourself. But when it comes to these elitists, the elitists don't want small businesses. They don't want freedom. And they think they can continue their power through their money. Now, in America, money does talk. Now, these are the individuals who hate capitalism, but you must understand, when you have one segment of the population running everything, that's an oligarchy. Because the segment that I'm talking about with all of the elitists are rich people. These are the ones who talk about redistribution of wealth, but a number of them don't want to redistribute their wealth. These are the individuals who are buying votes. These are the individuals who are controlling your mind psychologically, because a lot of you are too weak to see what's going on. Now, in this HR Bill 6666, there's monies in that bill to try to help out landlords. So they say, well, I'm going to tell you something, that bill is not going to pass, because you know when the Democrats put something out, you better read it carefully, because they're always going to put something in there to pay off their cronies, like their union bosses. And I'm not saying being in a union is bad, but the problem with being in a union, all the memberships that you get from your union members go up to your union bosses. And your union bosses who don't work in your organization are benefiting. You see, when it comes to this coronavirus, it has been used by elitists to integrate socialist policies. Again, as I mentioned in previous videos, I talked about Cloward Pivens. And what's going on right now, the left-wing politicians want to destroy the current system as we know it, and they want to bring in something different. And the something different is a socialist system. And in the socialist system, the government controls everything. They control the health care. They control the financing. They control everything that you do. Now, fortunately, Donald Trump has signed an executive order to get rid of more regulations. But in the long run, these elitists are not going to stop using their power to take away our freedom. And part of the elitist strategy is to utilize the media. This is why I tell individuals, you must stay off of television, because the television is going to put out propaganda that is doom and gloom, because the mainstream media doesn't want we as the people to go to work ourselves. Why? Because see, when we go to work, we start getting wealth for ourselves. That means we don't have to depend on the government. And once you start receiving payment from the government, believe it or not, your taxes are going to go up. Now, everybody got a $1,200 check. Now they're proposing a $2,000 check. It was proposed $2,000 for 6 months. But these individuals, regardless of what they give you, it's a test to bring socialism in to Western civilization as we know it here in the United States. Canada already has a socialist system, but they want it here in the United States. And when you start giving citizens monthly payments from the government, that becomes UBI, Universal Basic Income. And when you're receiving any monies from the government, which that's what they want you to do, then it's going to eliminate that entrepreneurial spirit. One thing you must understand when we talk about economies, it's supply and demand. But you need innovation within economies for your country to have growth. And many countries that are under tyranny are third world countries. The United States, for the most part, whether you have a liberal mindset or a conservative mindset, you must be better informed so our freedoms won't be taken away. They want to take away the freedom of speech. They want to take away Second Amendment rights. I know in the black community, we keep hearing about this brother Aubrey. Regardless of how he died, he shouldn't have died. But at the end of the day, there is no outrage for black on black crime. Last week, there were 5 murders in Mobile, Alabama. No outrage. What about the Brandy Taylor situation where she was shot 8 times by officers in Louisville, Kentucky? What about the woman who was shot in the head by a man in Trenton, New Jersey? What about the shootings in Chicago that occurred last week? And this is Memorial Day weekend, and you know what's going to happen when it gets hot. There is no outrage for black on black crime. In fact, a number of crimes that go on in the black community, they go unsolved. Now, the way black people are killing each other, they've already put the Ku Klux Klan out of business. And at the end of the day, that's what people like the late Margaret Sanger want. Why? Because she wants black people to destroy themselves. Because she didn't believe that black people were good people. Again, she was an elitist. And your elitists have all of these crazy thoughts about depopulation. Again, you look at Bill Gates. You look at George Soros. You look at Jeff Bezos. Well, when you look at Bill Gates, he doesn't want competition for Microsoft. But what you can do is not buy his products. Look at Amazon. There's no competition for Amazon. See, what you're going to have in this country, if we don't stand up for small business, is a public-private partnership called government and corporations to run our lives. Again, when you have monopolies in this country, it's not free market. You eliminate choice. The big companies will control the pricing. And what's going on right now with this coronavirus, you have people like Maxine Waters in California who believe individuals should not go back to work. The reason why she doesn't want people to go back to work is so that she can continue to eliminate individuals' freedom to make money for themselves. She wants the welfare state. Again, if you look at the education system is basically teaching Marxism. And the people that you get to first to indoctrinate this nonsense from the elitists is to the children. You look at Occupy Wall Street. They believe in the 1%, but it is the 1% that are putting in these policies to take away your freedoms. Now, when you protest, you should protest with arms. At the end of the day, we should be allowed to protect ourselves. You don't think the elitists protect themselves? Of course they protect themselves. But we as citizens need to get out of the TV and religion. Going back to the African American community. The black church has done you no good. It's indoctrinated a number of African American women. Again, when you talk about that black pastor, you're talking about African American women. Well, a number of our African American women go to church, and the preacher depends on them for money. But these pastors are elitists themselves. They tell African American women what they want to hear. Now, you have other pastors out here as well, begging for money in non-African American churches. Again, all this that's going on is nothing but evil. And the people on the left are the devil. They don't want families. They don't want you believing in Christ. They don't want you believing in smaller government. They want to control our thinking. They want to control every move that we make. The elitists right now are winning the battle of public opinion because their message is on mainstream media, and they're even coming to YouTube because you have Google out there. Used to be YouTube had freedom of speech. Some people have freedom of speech. Most of us don't have freedom of speech. If they don't flag your channel here on YouTube, they skew your views. They skew your subscribers. In fact, my subscribers don't even get any of my notifications. Why? Because in a socialist country, you want to control the narrative to get people to believe what you're doing is good and that the other side is evil. So they want to try to silence the other side. And that's what's been going on through your education system, your religious system, your corporations, government, and media. But too many people are still asleep at the wheel, and they are hysterical. And the way you keep your society in hystericalness is to continue to promote doom and gloom, because a number of individuals that are allowing the elitists to promote socialism are in their feelings. This is why you have to be a critical thinker. And look at this. There may be something coming along the way before the election to stunt the election, because China was talking about interfering with the election. And when I say something else is coming, there may be another round of coronavirus coming. And what's going to happen? It's going to allow the government to shut everything down again. When you have a number of people out of work, that doesn't look good for the economy. Now, the stock market is rising slightly because there are some individuals who are at work. And the 6-foot social distancing rule, I don't see a lot of people obeying that 6-foot social distancing rule. I know when I go into the grocery store, I'm not 6 feet away from customers when I'm in line trying to pay for my items, because the store closes all of the cash lines where humans usually sit. And I'm talking about the store Meijer. Now, Kroger is okay. I can get in and out of Kroger. Walmart is okay. But these grocery chains are too big. You have to have small business, because small business creates wealth. And a lot of these small businesses, due to the coronavirus, had to shut down, and they will never be open again. Why? Because they couldn't pay their bills. They couldn't pay their employees. This is what the left wants. They want everybody to depend on government. And if you go against government, they want to ostracize you. This is why most of us need to be awake and get the information. And when we get the information, we need to continue to broadcast it over our YouTube channels, Blog Talk Radio, Conservative Media, Fox News, Newsmax, Blaze TV. We need to continue to oppose this socialist elitism that these individuals on the left are trying to promote. Look, socialism is not good. It eliminates freedom. It stunts growth in the market because there's no competition, and pharmaceuticals make a lot of money. Also, big corporations make a lot of money because when there's no choice, you have to go where the supply and demand are. And when you go to places that raise the price on costs or raise the cost on goods and services, some of you may not be able to afford those goods and services. And guess who you're going to run to? Big Daddy government. So I'm telling you, at the end of the day, while this coronavirus is going on, there's been no autopsies with this coronavirus, and going to black on black crime, there's no outrage for black on black crime. But at the end of the day, when you allow the government to go behind closed doors to take away our freedoms, it's just a matter of time before we wake up one day and we're living in tyranny. So here in America, I want to ask you this one question. Do you believe in freedom, or do you want tyranny? Because at the end of the day, people before us fought against communism. So me, I want to be free. Tell me what you think in the comments section. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show right here on YouTube. If you like what I presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. Also subscribe to my Mind is STEM channel, where I give you a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. And if you can't find my YouTube channels right here on YouTube, look me up on Facebook and Twitter. Also check out my Blog Talk Radio show. I do it every weekend. Can't find me on Blog Talk Radio? Find me on Twitter and Facebook. Be blessed with what you got. Don't worry about what you have. Remember, the sun always rises in the east and sets in the west. My name is Leon Jones. Thank you for listening.